This video is not sponsored, but the product covered was provided to me for free for review. I'd like to say thank you to the nearly 3.1 thousand subscribers. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so and selecting notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. Thanks in advance. Today we have up for review the Oscal Pad 13 by Blackview. It is a 10.1-inch tablet that is set to be released April 17th, 2023. It comes in a pretty nice box. The sticker that states 14 GB of RAM on the front is actually 8 GB of RAM with 6 GB of storage set aside as additional memory. Inside we find what looks like a hard screen protector and the tablet itself. Underneath there is a stylus with a cap covering the tip that can attach to the back. Under the quick start guide is a pin for opening the SIM/micro SD card holders. The charger provided is dual voltage, but the plug is EU spec and I'm in the USA and don't have the correct adapter at this time. That isn't an issue though, as the pad can be charged from a standard USB-C type charger with the included cable or your own. The pad itself comes with a case that overall doesn't look too bad. Upon opening, I don't even have to type out the specs as it's on the insert. A 10.1-inch 1920 by 1200 pixel IPS display, 8 GB of RAM, 256 GB of storage, a 7680 mAh battery, the front-facing one 8 megapixels and the rear-facing one 13 megapixels. What is left off though is the 8-core Unisoc T606 processor, support for PC mode, and running Dock OS version 3.0 based on Android 12. On the bottom, we have the two sole ports on this tablet. On the left, a 3.5mm headphone mic combo jack, and a USB-C port for charging and connecting peripherals. We also have one of the two speakers. On the top, we have another speaker along with the power and volume switches. The microphone is on the left side near the hinge of the case. If we take the case off, on the bottom we can see the tray for the SIM cards or micro SD card. Setup was pretty straightforward if you've ever set up an Android-based phone in the last couple of years. After creating a new account and going through a few settings, I got to the Dock privacy policy and the Dock GDPR information consent documents. I'm no lawyer, and I didn't read it word for word, but nothing really stood out to me that was more concerning than what we use for most other products. Yes, you see me using a different stylus than provided, but I was more comfortable with this one for the setup. Once all is said and done, you're greeted with the home screen. Notice the jumping icons on the bottom. Yes, one of those is a phone icon. The tablet has spots for 2 SIM cards, and the Google Phone app is installed by default. We also have regular Google Play Store access along with some Google apps. Settings aren't that exciting, but here are a few things I'd like to point out. Android Auto is installed and shows up there, which is interesting. Security does allow for a password/PIN or face unlock, and the latter of which I've not tried. Location is determined by Wi-Fi or mobile network. There is no GPS module installed that I can find for my testing. Battery saver is missing one of the most handy features on my phone where it stops charging at 85%, and the system update is from January 5th, 2023. Maybe there will be more updates once the tablet is released on April 17th. The last thing is the display does not have an auto backlight setting. So what do I think after a week or so of use? Overall, I think it's a pretty cool tablet at their target price of $159. It is very reasonable for opening and using web browsing apps with a few tabs open. If it's anything like my phone, it should be able to handle more tabs than this. The camera does okay with photos, nothing spectacular, but if you saw my video on the Beelink Mini S12, those photos were taken with the Oscal Pad 13. Some odd things to note of the apps I've tried. The weather app can't seem to find my location, though the permissions are set for it, and it can find the forecast when the location is looked up. Speaking of permissions, the camera app needed to be able to make phone calls, as does the sound recorder app. I can't get the latter to run without that permission. In contrast, Smart Voice Recorder, an app I use on my phone too, only needs access to the microphone. PC mode I didn't get to go through very much, but if you've used a Chromebook before, this will probably look familiar. Overall, I like the tablet, and think for the price it's actually a really good deal. I wouldn't normally think of tablets in this price range to be so responsive. I do have a few things I miss. The lack of automatic brightness does mean I have to change it myself, which I'm not used to. There's also no built-in GPS to use for offline maps or Android Auto, though you could probably tether it to your phone with Bluetooth. I would also rather have a tablet to not be a phone too, as this has emergency call on the lock screen and I've accidentally pressed it when carrying the tablet. So what do you think? Are you thinking of something like this? Would the Oscal Pad 13 meet your needs? Unfortunately, I don't know if it will be coming to Amazon, but I know it's to be on AliExpress. Check the description below for a link and any updates on availability that I may have found. You can also leave a comment of cat and I'll know you've made it this far. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. I hope that it wasn't terrible.